Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
You have found KMOX's tradition, the rundown of sports here in St. Louis. It is indeed sports on a Sunday morning, and do we ever have a rundown? And thanks to all of our guests in advance for visiting with us on a very special day. It is Easter, so happy Easter. Also, Passover, happy Passover. It is a family day. It is a holy day. It's a very special day, and I know that having all of these guests join us is very appreciated, very much appreciated. We're very grateful. And let me run through the list for you before we get after it here. How about this list? You ready? Starting at 10:15 and every 15 minutes or so after that. 10:15, Brian Barnhart, the voice of the Illini. 10:30, KMOX senior golf editor Dan Reardon on the Masters. 10:45, the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. 11:05, Stifel CEO Ron Kruszewski. 11:15, the president of St. Louis City SC, Diego Gigliani. 11:30, the president of baseball operations for the St. Louis Cardinals, Chaim Bloom. And at 11:45, it is Missouri Sports Hall of Fame columnist Bernie Miklasz. How about that for a lineup? Drew Young's our producer. I'm Tom Ackerman. It's going to be a great day, beautiful day here in downtown St. Louis. And again, happy Easter, happy Passover. Had a wonderful Easter service with family yesterday. This morning, just a nice, peaceful morning. And we're here in studio in downtown St. Louis, and great to be with you. Yesterday was filled with sports, absolutely filled. And let me lead by saying that Brian Barnhart will be with us, so I'm going to save the Illini talk for that segment. But I just want to say to the Illini fans, what a ride it was that you were on. I enjoyed following every second of it. I think you had the opportunity to beat UConn yesterday. The shots just didn't fall. UConn's going to have its hands full with Michigan. I think we all know that. Michigan is the best team in the country. SLU gave them a fight for 25 minutes and then succumbed to what eventually was a lopsided game on the scoreboard. This is what Michigan does to people. 91-73 doesn't even do it justice. I mean, they just overwhelmed Arizona yesterday. They are tremendous. And they are one win away from their first championship since 1989. Illinois lost to UConn 71-62. Let's shift our attention to baseball and get the Redbird recap from the broadcast booth in Motown.
The Redbird Recap is sponsored by Helitech Waterproofing and Foundation Repair. Heal your home with Helitech.
This is John Rooney, and yesterday in Detroit, the Tigers jumped out to a huge lead. They were up by a count of 7-1 when the Cardinals erupted for 5 runs in the 5th inning, and this was the big blow. There's a swing and a long drive, left center field. It's a grand slam for Jordan Walker, and the Cardinals are right back in this game down by a run. Jordan Walker finished the day 3 for 4, his grand slam. He had 5 RBIs overall and a stolen base, but Detroit had an answer with a run in the 5th, a Torres homer in the 7th, a Veerling home run, a 2-run shot in the 8th inning, and then rain came with 1 out and the man on in the 9th. The field was unplayable, and the game was called, with the Tigers winning 11-6. Tonight, the Cardinals try to salvage a game in the series behind Kyle Leahy. We're on the air at 5:25.
John, thank you. And it was a tough one for Dustin May. He's trying to figure out the reasons why. His struggles continue. He gave up 7 earned runs in this game. 7 on 7 hits. Only lasted 3 1/3 innings, walked 2, struck out 4, gave up 2 home runs. He was also drilled on the ankle lower leg area by a line drive. Here's Chip Carey on Cardinals TV with manager Ollie Marmol.
Ollie, Dustin didn't dodge a bullet in the first inning, but it looks like he and your staff sure did. That was quite a shot. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's good. He'll be sore, but he was able to pitch through it. It got him pretty good. So I was glad he was able to stay in and give us some innings, but he battled through that for sure. So I think he'll be fine, but definitely had to deal with it for the rest of that outing.
Jordan Walker, big day at the plate, grand slam, 5 RBIs. He seems to make strides offensively with each passing day.
Yeah, we've talked about it quite a bit. He's putting in a lot of work, and he's playing with a lot more confidence, not only defensively, but that's a big swing for him today. To come in that situation, they go to the righty, and for him to do that was awesome. So really good swing through the middle of the field, and when he stays in the air that way, man, it's fun to watch. So he's feeling good about it right now. We need to continue that.
You've had to use your bullpen a lot. Fresh arm. You've got to run a games without days off here.
Yeah, we're looking at that right now. As soon as we're done with this, we'll continue to talk through. And you always want to plan for a worst case scenario. How do you get through a game tomorrow? So we'll plan for that and go from there.
Kyle Leahy, the starter today. Again, a 6:20 start. NBC Peacock has the broadcast today of the Cardinals, but on the radio side, it's always here, right here on 104.1 FM, 1120 AM, the Odyssey app, the MLB app. Where do you get your games from? You can get them right here, wherever you're listening. Now, let's also say that we're the home of the Billikens. We're the home of St. Louis City SC. Those games are on Y98 FM, and that was a fun one last night as they were able to get a point in New York. Let's hear from KMOX's Jen Cease.
St. Louis City SC came from behind late on Saturday to earn a 1-1 draw at New York City FC, with the equalizer coming in stoppage time. Striker Brendan McSorley, who subbed on in the 80th minute, scored his first goal of the season in the 96th to secure the result. In dramatic fashion, no less, with a diving header at the 6th off a cross from fellow substitute Lucas McNaughton. Head coach Yohan Demay says that's exactly the kind of impact they're looking for off the bench.
Yes, at the end of the day, we all know what is capable of. So, like, we had a plan going into the second half. Of course, the plan changed when we conceded that goal. I thought the sub did a brilliant job tonight for us, all of them. So it was great to get Brendan at the end of it, and I hope this is gonna give him like a lot of confidence for the season.
City picks up a late point on the road and now heads to Dallas next Saturday. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Jen, thank you. We will hear from Diego Gigliani, the president of St. Louis City SC, at 11:15. Chaim Bloom at 11:30. Bernie Miklasz, 11:45. This hour filled, including our next guest. After the break, the voice of the Illini, Brian Barnhart, discusses yesterday's Final Four loss, and we look ahead to UConn and Michigan, but really the overall season that Illinois had, historic on many fronts. Back after this. Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio.
Hey, it's Matt and Leslie Holiday. When we got to St. Louis, it wasn't long before we started searching for a way to give back.
We visited Cardinal Children's Hospital, and we knew this is where we belonged.
Always for Health has been going strong for 15 years and has made such an unbelievable impact on the hospital. I've won a World Series, but I consider the work we've done at Cardinal Glennon to be the greatest achievement.
Yes, your support truly makes a difference. Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org. to benefit the devoted fund.
True comfort is something you feel every day and something your home should deliver effortlessly. It's in the quiet of your mornings, the consistency of your indoor temperature, and the way your home feels season after season. With Renewal by Andersen, every detail is designed for lasting performance and a seamless, refined experience. From consultation through installation, everything is handled by one experienced team, built around your home and your schedule. And with our exclusive Fibrex material, stronger than vinyl and built for extreme temperatures, you get durability that lasts. Save 20% off your entire project. Plus, take an additional $100 off every window and door, up to $1,000. With flexible financing options available, you can move forward with confidence. But this offer won't last long. Call by April 30th. Call 877-WINDOWS. Or visit renewalbyandersen.com today. That's 877-WINDOWS or renewalbyandersen.com. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
Since 1968, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been the place to get started with your outdoor living project, whether it is a new fence or a new deck, that's in their name, Chesterfield Fence and Deck, or a sunroom, a screen room, patio. They do it as well as you could possibly imagine. And they're located in Chesterfield, but they do the entire St. Louis area and have been since 1968. Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Look no further than Chesterfield Fence and Deck when you are looking at a new way to do your outdoor seating area, whether it's a new patio, whatever you're going to go with, pavers, or you're going to put in a new fence for the dogs. No matter what, Chesterfield Fence and Deck should get a look. ChesterfieldFence.com. It's a company you can trust with your home. They do retaining walls as well. You'll receive expert advice from their knowledgeable project consultants on selecting the right products for your home. And that's followed by an installation team of professionally trained craftsmen who take pride in their work. They will get it done. They're the sign you have the very best. They're Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You will receive 20% off your next outdoor project. Let me repeat that. If you mention me, 20% off your next outdoor project. That's a big chunk of change, I do believe. From Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Working hard but still falling behind? Learn how real estate investing can help you build income and move forward with purpose. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Let me say up front, thank you, Brian Barnhart, for joining us multiple times this season. It's been great to get your voice on KMOX. It won't be the last time, I'll tell you that. But what a run you had. Thank you for being with us from Indianapolis. We watched it last night, a loss to UConn. How are you?
I'm doing good, Tom. Always great to be on, and actually leaving Indianapolis this morning. So hoping to stay. I was hoping to stay another couple days, but that's okay. It's been awesome.
You and me both, and thousands of Illini listeners right now that are thinking and reflecting and wondering what could they have done differently to beat UConn. I would say number one, as simple as putting the ball in the basket more often. I mean, 6 of 26 from 3 is not like them.
No, and we were down there in the front row, kind of near the the elevated court, which they have now, and it was interesting on a couple of shots. There was one shot in particular that kind of defined the whole night for them. Tom, there was somebody shot it, and the ball rolled around the rim and then sat on the base of the rim there up top against the glass, and then fell out. And there was a couple of shots like that. Tomislav Ivičić had one that looked like it was dead in, and then it like rimmed out. There were just shots like that they had good looks and they wouldn't go in. And then on the other end, UConn got some bounces. They had Terrace Reed, who was about a 58% free throw shooter, made all 6 of his foul shots, and they didn't rebound. I mean, they rebounded pretty well. They just couldn't get the ball to go in enough, and that's kind of how they lost the game. I think you hit it on the head.
I heard your call. I was in the car at that time, your call of the ball that died on the rim. And I heard you say you'd never seen that before. And you've watched a lot of hoops, my man. I mean, so when I heard you say that, I knew that was real. And then, if you look at the other way around, go back to 2005, you're in Chicago and you're playing Arizona, everything went in when it had to, I mean, so basketball is a crazy game like that.
Yeah, it is. And, UConn was a tough opponent. I think the one intangible they had was, Hurley's been on this stage multiple times, the coach. Caravan's been out there, 2-time champion. So they had a little bit more of the, playing on this stage before. I don't know what they've won, like 19 straight, I think, the second round or beyond in the NCAA tournament. So that was probably a little bit of a benefit for them. But, I thought our guys in that first half got down and they bounced back and again, just couldn't get the shots to go in when they had to. And tip the cap to UConn. But I'll tell you what, Tom, they've got their hands full with Michigan. Michigan is by far the best team I've seen all year. And they're really, really good.
I totally agree. I mean, it is scary what they can do. And they were doing it without Lendeborg yesterday. He's out of the game and they're just, picking up where they left off. And that Cadeau is special. My gosh. Well, you all saw it firsthand. I mean, they went into Champaign and they did a number on you, didn't they?
They did. Yeah. The 3 losses, 2 losses, really. We lost by, 9, I guess, last night. But the only 2 losses by double digits this year were to Michigan at home and to UConn. Everything else, and those are the 2 teams that are going to play for the national title. So, I mean, those were the 2 teams that got us. But, yeah, we saw Michigan up close and, Lendeborg, and he was playing kind of he came back in, was banged up quite a bit, was moving slow. But there you saw, Tom, the difference in their game. They were making everything. Everything they put up went in. And when they're like that, Marez Johnson does what he does. And, Godot and Burnett. I mean, they just come at you in waves, and they're just hard to stop. I'm going to be shocked if they don't win the title Monday night.
We've seen a very emotional Brad Underwood in victory and in defeat. Is that who he is, Brian? You've been around him for a while now.
Yeah, that's who he is. When you watch him courtside, you might think, well, he's a really tough guy, but when you talk to him, and he's very much a family guy and loves his guys, and they love him back, his team, because he respects them, but he also coaches them, and so there's a lot there. There's a great story, and I wish we could have done one more game so even more people could have learned about him and what a wonderful guy he is. And I mean, you think about it, Tom. I mean, he worked his way up. He was going to go into radio and TV originally. Graduated with a degree in that, and then as we all find out early in our careers, there's not a lot of money there in the radio business. So he said, well, I'll try coaching, and then he worked his way up. Junior college. He was 10 years in Macomb at Western Illinois as an assistant. Paid his dues, worked his way up, and I was just really happy for him. That emotion he shared about making the Final Four and then with his guys was. That's genuine Brad. That's who he is. It was a great roster that obviously will see turnover next year. A really great roster. I think you had all the pieces, or did you? I mean, was there anything missing that you wish you could have had, or maybe it's better asked, what does Illinois need on next year's team to be one of the favorites again? Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Mirkovic had a unique role, and Wagner, nobody necessarily saw that coming as far as fans, especially. I mean, even the coaches, I think, were a little surprised. Is there another Keaton Wagner out there? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. They had a couple of, recruits here. I think that they're on board. I know they're working the transfer portal. I mean, I suppose if you could get a transfer in that, is a high volume scorer that, could help you there when the shots aren't falling. But I mean, there wasn't a whole lot missing on this team that I saw all year. And, some people maybe in the middle of the year thought, well, they're not tough enough, but I thought they really showed toughness in the NCAA tournament. So even that maybe was something that you thought going into the tournament they were going to need a little more of. But, I think they showed that they had that too. So I don't know. The way they constructed the roster was pretty impressive. I don't know what else you could add to it. They certainly benefited. I think they were at a high level anyway without Keaton, but then when he was turned out to be the player he was this year, that took them into the stratosphere of where they got to this year. Was there an experience for you that topped them all? I mean, I guess the win over Iowa to get to the Final Four. You need 6 wins in the tournament. Only one team does it. Everybody else ends the season with a loss. You need 6 of them. You got 4. You beat Penn. You beat a hot VCU team. You somehow beat Houston in Houston, and then got Iowa. You fall short against UConn. Is there one there or the regular season that stands out to you where you will walk away from this season as a top memory? Well, I think the game at Purdue still is just, what Keaton Wagner did over there was, and you know how hard it is to play at Mackey Arena. That place is just unbelievable. And the dominance he showed in that game, I've never seen a game like that from a freshman especially. I mean, he just hit everything, and he made it look so easy. And winning a game like that in Mackey, the win at Nebraska, I thought was really, really, really great. I mean, you know how good Nebraska was this year. But I thought the tournament win of was Houston, to beat Kelvin Sampson in Houston, 2 miles from their campus against a team that, a couple of years earlier had eliminated Illinois from the tournament and kind of ground us up with their physical play and toughness. And we out Houston basically in that game down at the Toyota Center. So those are 2 or 3 of the games that stand out. The young men on the team, I mean, it was just a joy to be around them. And I had said all year, when it ended, whatever that was, it was going to be really sad and Brad expressed that last night, because that was such a fun group to be in the dining room with them, to travel with them on the bus, to be on the plane with them. And just a really, really fun group. They'll stand out a long time. And I'm happy, Tom, for Illini fans that, 05 was getting to be pretty far back. I mean, this whole team wasn't even born, I don't think, when those guys were maybe barely born when that 05 team that Dee and Darren and Luther had. And so for a whole generation of Illini fans, this is a team that they'll always remember. And when those guys come back, they're going to be cheered very loudly. They showed Dee Brown and Darren Williams on the video board last night, and a roar went up in the arena. So when Keaton Wagner comes back, or David, or any of these guys, they're going to be well received by Illini fans.
That's well said. It seems like yesterday that you were at the Dome, 21 years ago. So I guess two things there. One, I don't think it's going to take you another 21 years, but you do savor the moment. That's for sure, because you just never know when you're there how special it is. It just doesn't happen every day. And so it was a great run for Illinois. I'm really happy for you that you got to experience it. When it's all said and done, you'll be able to look back and say that was a Final Four team. They don't come around every day. So congratulations on what was a great season. I know it hurts to fall short, but it was a great season.
Well, thank you, Tom. Appreciate that you recognize that. I know you follow college sports like I do, and you know how hard it is to get there. And moments when you're in baseball, as a broadcaster, you want to be in the World Series, and you get to college football, you want to be in that pinnacle game. You want to be Don Fisher at Indiana. You want to be that. You want to experience it. We all get into it for that reason. So, this will be one I'll always remember in this year.
Thank you, buddy. We'll catch up soon, and football will be here real quick.
All right. Hey, thank you, Tom, and good luck to the Cardinals this year.
Thank you. Brian Barnhart, voice of the Illini, joining us on Sports on a Sunday morning. Dan Reardon is going to talk Masters next. Right now, though, I want to do the parlay of the day, sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. I love this Circa Sports app, and I'm going to give you a two-team parlay. You ready for this? The NIT final, which is tonight. Tulsa is a 5-point underdog against Auburn. I told you last week to take Tulsa against New Mexico. I'm going to do it again. Tulsa +5 in the NIT final tonight. Okay. That's at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. And then tomorrow in Indianapolis is the national championship. And I'm going to take Michigan -7. 7's a sizable number, but Michigan can cover 7 very quickly, and they are ferocious. And I think it would be foolish for me to go the other way. You just never know in this thing, but I'm going to say Tulsa +5, Michigan -7. When we come back, we're going to hear from Dan Reardon, the KMOX senior golf editor. The Masters begin. Masters week is here. Back in a moment on KMOX.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circa Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circasports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circa Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your 401k, 403b, and IRA, it's a future tax time bomb. I'll help you retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Let's avoid all those taxes on your IRA or 401k. Get your retirement questions answered. Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg. Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX FM 104.1. And then see your tax time bomb at checkwithgary.com.
If you're carrying a lot of credit card or personal loan debt, every month can start to feel the same. All those bills, all those due dates, all that stress. There's a solution that's designed to make it easier for you. National Debt Relief could put you on the fast track to paying off your credit card debt, personal loans, and even medical debt for less than you owe, with just one low monthly payment you can afford. And no, it's not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. It's a real, affordable debt relief program that could save you lots of money. National Debt Relief has already helped over 1 million people with their debt and has thousands of 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. So if you owe $10,000 or more, don't wait. Call 800-300-4411 now to see if you qualify. That's 800-300-4411. One call could help reduce what you owe and simplify your monthly payments. Call 800-300-4411 now to find out how much you could save.
KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Ready to hit a home run with your backyard? Call Artistic Decks. We're celebrating 25 years of A-plus service with massive rollback pricing. Get a professional custom-built deck for less. Hit it out of the park with Artistic Decks. Call 314-280-0821 today.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show and a happy Easter. And joining us is the KMOX Senior Golf Editor, Dan Reardon, who is with us every time this time of year as we get ready for the Masters in Augusta. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing fine. Happy Easter to you and all the KMOX listeners. And yeah, it's opening day, Masters, NCAA tournament. They all line up in a short sports window.
Yeah, it does feel like the start of the golf season, even though golf has been going. The first major just has that feel to it, and the Masters will get underway this week. For right now, though, we're tracking the Texas Open, and with the lead, Robert McIntyre. He is 15 under. We're keeping an eye on this leaderboard right now, and what can you learn from a Texas Open leading into the Masters, Dan?
Well, ordinarily you would find that tournament was setting up the course to emulate some of the conditions you might find at Augusta National, but they've had so much weather. I don't think you can gain much in the way of information, maybe a little momentum from the players that are playing well, although I'd have to look it up. I think maybe the last player to win the Masters and the tournament the week before could have been Phil Mickelson. Probably somebody more recently has done that. But it doesn't give you as much of a clue because you don't know exactly what their conditions will be when they get to Augusta. But this year they're going to be sensational. We saw with the women's amateur yesterday what the condition of the course is. I've looked at the forecast for the remainder of the week. There's no rain in the forecast. There's warm weather in the forecast. The committee will be able to set up the course exactly the way they want it. This will be the test that the Masters is intended to give the field.
I think that's what the players want, don't they, Dan? They want everybody to play in nice weather. They don't want to have to deal with the elements. It's hard enough as it is. I think this makes for a spectacular experience for them.
And it literally is the only thing Augusta National can't control about the golf course. And this year, like I said, they will have absolute control, and people will see it in its full glory. There's a part of the Masters that doesn't have anything to do with golf, and it's the beauty of the facility. I refer to Augusta National as golf's cathedral, and I say that out of respect for the origins of golf at St. Andrews. But St. Andrews is not a cathedral. It's very much a pasture. But Augusta National has all the feelings of a cathedral.
I picked Ludwig Åberg to win it last year. I'm tempted to do it again, even though he does not have any wins this year, and he hasn't necessarily been knocking down the door. He's playing pretty well in this tournament. By the way, they're wrapping up the third round because of weather, and they're going to start the final round here in just a bit. But Oberg, I just feel like he's the guy. He's the guy that everybody is watching, ready to break through and be the next big star in this game.
And traditionally at the Masters, before you win, you contend at the Masters. And Oberg had that runner-up finish, I think, 2 years ago. Stumbled a bit at the Players' Championship with a poor final day. His weakness will be his putter, and everybody who is off the game with their putter will be exposed on the speed and firmness of the greens this week. But Oberg, and I'll throw into that same mix a guy who contended last year and has been good the last couple of years, Bryson DeChambeau, who's played very well on LIV this year, has contended in the tournament, and they're primed to come in and do what they prepared to do a year before or 2 years before.
I'd be curious to see how Rory plays with that weight lifted off his shoulders, Dan.
Well, he's got the weight lifted off his shoulders, but it shifted to his lower back where he's experienced back spasms. But the last guy to win back-to-back Masters was Tiger Woods in 2000, 2001. It just doesn't, and Faldo did it as well years before that. It just doesn't happen that often. But it will be interesting to see Rory in the first round, because this will be the first time in probably a decade that he has played in the Masters where he wasn't playing against himself more than against the course.
I do want to talk about Tiger in just a bit, but because you just brought his name up, I'm going to table that for just a moment. The favorite, I have to say, is Scottie Scheffler, right, Dan?
Well, he's the number one player in the world. He's the best player in the game today. You know, it's interesting. I've read every interview that Scottie has done following a tournament round this year, and there's two things that come out of those interviews. One is that he's been battling to decide what driver to play with. He's been very uncomfortable with the new driver he put in the bag this year. He's gone back to the old one and back again. And that was something he probably has worked on while he's taken these 3 weeks off and welcomed his second child into the world. The other thing he's talked about, and this is a little bit odd for Scottie, he's talked about his frustration with the constant questions he's getting about what's wrong with his game. You know, he's won this year on tour. He has several top tens. His worst finish is like a 21 or 21st or 22nd in the field. And yet he keeps being asked about what's wrong with his game. And he just is frustrated because he knows that the game is that difficult and the expectations on him are unrealistic. But, you know, I think he's primed going into this week. I think the 3 weeks off, which is unusual for any player, I think will work to his advantage.
I think somebody to watch, I'm not saying he's going to win it, but somebody to watch who sort of feeds off of that negativity sometimes is Brooks Koepka. Koepka has finished tied for second in the Masters twice. He has not won an Open, but he's won, as we know, 3 PGA championships, one of them here in St. Louis. He's won 2 at U.S. Opens. Can Brooks Koepka make some noise in Augusta?
Well, he's certainly comfortable on the golf course. And I say about the Masters, there are certain players that learn how to play the course. And once they learn how to play the course, they continue to play well year after year. The only thing that would scare me about Brooks is his weakness so far this year, as again, I go back to the same club, his weakness so far this year has been with the putter. So I tend to look at guys that are really solid on the greens as the guys that are the most dangerous. I'll give you my name. I think Cameron Young is a player that needs to be reckoned with. He's got unbelievable length off the tee and control. And now he seems to have found, with that Players' Championship, the ability to putt under pressure. But I won't discount Koepka because we know that what Koepka does best is win majors. He doesn't win tour events, but he does win majors.
It seems odd, doesn't it, to have a Masters not only without Tiger Woods, but Phil Mickelson, Dan?
Yeah, and quite honestly, Tom, as much as we might talk about Tiger's problems and Phil's problems keeping it off the course, both of them are well past their prime. I'm not so sure that Tiger was going to play. He seemed to indicate after the TGL appearance that he was not confident, that he was physically ready to go forward at the Masters. So I'm not sure that the accident and the problems that he had a week ago are the root cause of his lack of appearance at the Masters. And we really don't know what the family situation that Phil is dealing with. And Phil has competed at the Masters extremely well into his 50s. You know, you mentioned Koepka. I think Phil had, a runner-up 2 years ago or 3 years ago at age 53. So, you know, he was a guy that was probably very viable, at least to contend for a top 10 position. But it is odd. I think you have to go back to like the early 1980s 90s or something like that you didn't have both of them, one or both of them in the field.
Just a few things left for Dan Reardon. Dan, I think I ask you this every year because I have not been. But tell me what it's like to arrive on those grounds. Quite possibly, some believe, the greatest golf course on planet Earth. What is that like?
It's the same every year, Tom. There's a level of excitement, a level of expectations, and it never lets you down. You know, it always delivers the product. I'm looking at the last 5 winners, and the range of scores is 2 strokes. 10, 11, or 12 under par has been the winning total at the Masters. They can control that environment, and give credit to Fred Ridley and all the chairmen that preceded him. I don't know of any event in sport at a grand level that is more interested in preservation than they are in exploitation. They have accommodated the elite people who come to the Masters. But at its core, this Masters is the same as it was 39 years ago or 40 years ago for me. They keep that thing in place. There's an infrastructure around the facility that's just magnificent. But at the core, it is the golf course, this great artistry of golf design that challenges the field no matter what conditions it's in. And so when you get there, you're going back to the Masters. You're not going to the Masters for the first time. You're always going back to the Masters. And when you get back there, it's the same place. And I just think sports has lost sight of the preservation of the game. You know, I'm thinking of opening day for the Cardinals has been opening day for the Cardinals for a long, long time. They've managed to keep the Clydesdales and the feel of that event the same. They've done that at Augusta for almost 90 years now.
And then finally, Dan, it is a big year for St. Louis golf. You have not only the BMW Championship at Belle Reef Country Club, but the Stifel Charity Classic is now officially a Charles Schwab Cup playoff event starting in 26.
In fact, they're almost the same event at their own level. You know, they're the lead-in to their eventual championship. They don't. You know, it's the Players Championship in the spring. It's the Tour Championship in the fall for the men, and the Schwab Cup is the same thing on the Senior Tour. So you know the field is going to be extremely good. You know, we missed out on some players. For instance, Patrick Harrington could not defend his championship because he was playing in the Irish Open. There are other players that have conflicts at that time. Even the Ryder Cup has taken some captains out of the field. You won't get this with the October date. You'll get the best of the best on the Senior Tour out at Norwood. And I think that's going to be spectacular. And hopefully, and I think the weather will cooperate.
Dan, I appreciate you very much. We will love hearing from you when it comes to the Masters. Hearing your voice on KMOX makes a lot of people happy. So thank you for doing it. Thanks for kicking off the major season with us.
I enjoyed it, Tom.
Great to visit with Dan Reardon. When it comes to golf coverage, there is no one better. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the voice of the Blues. You talk about a name from KMOX's history. Chris Kerber will be with us. Back in a moment. Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio.
Is your home showing symptoms of foundation issues? Your home's wet basement, dingy crawl space, musty smells, cracked walls, or unlevel concrete shouldn't be ignored. Helitech can help. Life happens in your home. You and your family deserve the best. Helitech offers proven solutions in waterproofing, drainage, concrete leveling, and foundation repair services. Contact us for a free inspection at helitechonline.com.
When the water's high, we'll keep your basement dry. Heal your home with Helitech.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Spring is here. Hi, this is Tim Gamma.
And I'm Tom Gamma.
When it comes to tree care, call the name you can trust. Gamma Tree Experts, founded by our dad, Frank Gamma, in 1954.
Frank will be 91 this year, and the third generation of Gammas have joined the business.
Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Now in our 72nd year.
For pruning, fertilization, and removal, call Gamma Tree Experts today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
It's tax time, y'all. If you want to file free, this next one's for you.
Now taxes is so free. Terrible tax, free edition only. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple form 1040 returns only. Now this is tax.
Love that jam. Up next, commercials.
And to get TurboTax free edition, see if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, student loan interest, and Schedule 1A.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hey there, it's Kevin Wheeler, and I'm joined by my friend and St. Louis real estate expert, Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. And Gloria, everyone knows you for your guaranteed sold program, but you also help your sellers get multiple cash offers, right?
That's right. Some sellers are looking for speed, certainty, and to avoid repairs and open houses. I just helped a family in December to sell their parents' estate. They chose me because I offered 4 cash offers at our first meeting, which gave them options picking the best cash offer, whether it's multiple cash offers or my guaranteed sold program. My sellers are always in control to sell fast and for the most money. It's my guarantees and my buyers in waiting program that set me apart from other realtors.
If you're ready to make your move without the hassles, guaranteed, then call Gloria Liu right now at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
It was great to visit with Brian Barnhart, the voice of the Illini, Dan Reardon from our KMOX staff. 2 big-time events there, the Final Four and the Masters. And joining us now, here's another reason why April is such a great sports month. The Stanley Cup playoffs are right around the corner, and the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. I don't know if they're going to be in it. They seem to be on the outside right now, but it has been a fun little run here they put together lately. Curbs, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah, they've had a spectacular March, a spectacular run here since that Olympic break, and they put themselves into conversation here. So we'll see what happens. This is a massive test tonight against Colorado.
Yeah, whoever gets this final spot in the Western Conference is going to have to meet them. Good luck. I mean, that's a tough task. That Colorado team is ferocious.
Yeah, you know what they are, but the wild thing is they had such a huge start to the season. I mean, it looked like for a while that they were actually not only going to threaten, but probably take down that record that the Boston Bruins set just a couple of years ago, wins and points. But if you go back and start from like January 4th on, they would actually rank like 15th in the league. So they come back to the pack a little bit. Cale Makar got injured, so we don't expect him to be in the lineup today. They expect him back before the playoffs, but so there's an opportunity for the St. Louis Blues. And look, they don't have any more, wiggle room, not winning in San Jose, losing that game with 21 seconds to go, losing the overtime game against LA. That basically took any rope that they have left here. So because you've got teams like Nashville and San Jose played head to head last night, and Nashville and LA play head to head next, those are guaranteed 2 points for one of those teams ahead of you. LA jumping into that, tie with Nashville for that last wild card again. They've just been seesawing over there. It's a hard run for the Blues, but you just don't have any room. So you've got to find a way Now, it doesn't matter tonight, 2 points overtime or regulation, but you need the 2 points.
I do want to start when we talk about individuals with goaltending, because that's been a big reason why you've been able to get back to where you've been. Joel Hofer and Jordan Bennington, analyze those two if you would.
Well, you know what? The goaltending as well as the all-around team performance at the beginning of the year was just bad. Mm-hmm. That whole month of October, there was just nothing that seemed to go right, for this team. That's talking skaters, goaltenders, kind of everybody involved there. You look, though, at what's happened, and Joel Hofer really did a great job of corralling, his season, in November. I mean, and it really started to turn there for Joel. And he's kind of taken over definitely that 1-1A spot here, lately when you look at how the Blues have been going. From that standpoint, though, Bennington, has also been great coming out of that Olympic break. I mean, Bennington is 4-1-1 with a 167 goals against average and a 921 save percentage. Those are in his sixth start since the beginning of March. Joel Hofer, of course, as I mentioned, he's just been lights out, really. And in his last 11 starts with a 169 goals against average. So you can look at goaltending in the first month as to why this team didn't get off to a good start. And you can look at goaltending right now as to why they pulled back into it, and it's just that important of a position.
Yeah, the team did not play well. The Holloway injury didn't do them any favors. And now you see him playing. I mean, he is spectacular. This guy's leading the Blues in goals in 52 games played. That is remarkable what he's done.
Well, he is. Now, what's messed up about that is, believe it or not, the Blues still don't have a 20-goal scorer on this team. Mm-hmm. And so you've got a few guys, including a rookie in Jimmy Snuggerud with 17, right? But not 20. So that is the remarkable part, thing here. Doug Armstrong said when Dylan returned, they said, look, because keep in mind, remember, they've already extended Philip Broberg, okay? They said, we need to know that he can stay healthy. And he needs to know that he can stay healthy. And that has been a problem early in his career. When he is healthy, you have a potential absolute star, in Dylan Holloway. The way he plays, his speed, his physicality. I mean, this is a guy that I believe is a point-of-player guy if he's healthy for a whole season. And Tom, sometimes the best trades, the best deals are the ones that don't happen. And what I mean by that is, if you look at, I gotta believe that there was actually some fire where there was some smoke when you heard Robert Thomas's name popping up around the trade deadline, right? Now, nothing ended up, getting consummated there. Well, look what happens. He's come out. He's been fantastic. A line that, for whatever reason, there was so much line juggling in the first 50 games of the season, right? And coming out of the break, a healthy Robert Thomas, a healthy Jimmy Snuggerud, and a healthy Dylan Holloway has created one of the top lines in the National Hockey League in the last 18 games. I mean, combined, these guys are like plus 54. So, I mean, it's really been good to see. And to me, it's one of those kind of lines that, again, if these guys are healthy, this becomes a line that maybe we're talking about, sticking together for a few years for the Blues here. So, but Holloway seems to be the real key piece to that line with the way he can play just about every aspect of the game.
Absolutely. And it's such a great point on Thomas that I wholeheartedly agree with. And the last thing here, just a couple minutes left, and I appreciate everything Doug Armstrong's done for this franchise, but I am excited to see what Alex Steen does. What's the first course of action for him as he has these final conversations before he takes over?
Well, Doug Armstrong said that from his perspective, when it comes to the players, this post-trade deadline, that honestly, the players should be looking at it right now as Alex Steen is the general manager. Doug's focus is going to be switching to the draft and to the scouting side of things, while Alex still learns on that side of it. But from a team, the team decisions, who's going to be playing, who do they go after, that is shifting to Alexander Steen. And and I watch him have the conversations that he's had with people, Tom, and spent some time with him talking about this philosophy. There's a few things I think Blues fans should, can wrap their head around. One, he's looking for character players. That's really obvious, in some of these players like, a Stenberg and Lindstein and stuff that they've drafted. He's looking for a team atmosphere. Like for him, it is about the team. It is about the locker room. It is about the quality of the room, how guys play for each other, how they, the body language, everything down to that matters. I mean, he has conversations with Ryan Podell, our strength and conditioning, coach, about the routines they're doing and why and what's expected. I mean, he's amazingly detail oriented already. And I think fans are going to be really good with that. And look, the other thing is, and you got to give Doug some credit here for understanding where he was at and in that process. And the part is that he knows that this team probably needs a new voice in that chair. And it's a good one in Alexander Steen.
Yeah, it's a very impressive handoff that they're doing here. No doubt about it. Curbs, thank you for the time. Say hi to your great crew, not only your work crew, but your family. We go back a long ways, my man, and we appreciate you very, very much here at KMOX.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. We got the radio only there on 101 tonight, so thanks for talking hockey with us, and we will see everybody tonight on the radio.
Have an awesome call. We love you, and happy Easter to you and your family.
You got it. Happy Easter, Tom.
Chris Kerber with us on KMOX. We're going to take a break. When we come back, another big Blues fan, Ron Kruszewski, is joining us right out of the gate in the 11 o'clock hour. He has something going on at Stifel Theater on Wednesday that you are going to want to be a part of with the U.S. ski team. I assure you of that. Back in a moment on Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio. I'm Tom Ackerman, along with producer Drew Young, and the news at the top of the hour.
Taking care of your health should be simple. And with the Neovitin monthly subscription, it finally is. Choose your doctor-formulated multivitamin and we'll deliver it straight to your door every month. No more running out, no more remembering to reorder, just consistent nutrition made easy. Plus, subscribers save 10% every month and can pause or cancel at any time. Visit neovitin.com and start your subscription today. Neovitin, trusted nutrition every day.
The pressure on data centers has never been greater. Whether you're expanding capacity, supporting AI workloads, or building new facilities, Graybar works alongside you with the solutions, specialists, and logistics expertise you need today. We help you power performance every step of the way, so your operation is ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
True comfort is something you feel every day, and something your home should deliver effortlessly. It's in the quiet of your mornings, the consistency of your indoor temperature, and the way your home feels season after season. With Renewal by Andersen, every detail is designed for lasting performance and a seamless, refined experience. From consultation through installation, everything is handled by one experienced team, built around your home and your schedule. And with our exclusive Fibrex material, stronger than vinyl and built for extreme temperatures, you get durability that lasts. Save 20% off your entire project. Plus, take an additional $100 off every window and door, up to $1,000. With flexible financing options available, you can move forward with confidence. But this offer won't last long. Call by April 30th. Call 877-WINDOWS. Or visit renewalbyandersen.com today. That's 877-WINDOWS or renewalbyandersen.com. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Peter King. A daring rescue has saved the second airman from Friday's F-15 shoot-down in Iran. President Trump made the announcement on social media. Correspondent Charlie Daggett has some details on how it all unfolded.
U.S. officials and White House sources describe a complex operation involving dozens of U.S. commandos and several dozen warplanes and helicopters in the search and eventual rescue of the missing F-15 crew member. Attack helicopters and aircraft kept Iranian forces from getting anywhere near where the crewman was hiding. Armed Iranians had been scouring the mountainous terrain to find him first, with the promise of a huge cash reward.
The president tells Axios News that if there's no deal with Iran to end the war by Tuesday, he's, quote, blowing up everything. He says he thinks Iranian civilians would support that. He also uses the F word in threatening Iran with all hell breaking loose if it doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Brett McGurk negotiated with Iran on behalf of 4 presidents, starting with the second President Bush.
The Iranians would be very well served to listen to President Trump when he says he's going to hit them, because he's proven that he's willing to do that. So that's the lesson I would learn from his most recent pronouncement and from actually what we've done in the war to this date.
McGurk on CNN State of the Union. Democratic Maryland governor and Afghanistan war veteran Wes Moore tells CBS's Face the Nation he's worried about another long-duration conflict.
We're lurching again into another forever war. And this is a forever war that is very similar to the one that I fought in, where I led soldiers with the 82nd Airborne Division in Afghanistan.
Some of the holiest sites in Jerusalem have been near empty, with the war disrupting both Passover and Easter celebrations. Israel put a cap on city gatherings at 50 people and closed the Western Wall. Isa Kasasaya lives there.
Very sad to see Jerusalem empty like this. Usually pilgrimage coming, especially in this day, the Palm Sunday, everybody holding to welcome Jesus to come here. But very sad because of the war.
Artemis 2 is closing in on the moon, and while people are, of course, fascinated by its upcoming flyby, they've also been captivated by the saga of Orion's toilet issues, which have finally been resolved.
And Integrity Houston, breaking news. We have results on the discussions down here for the tank venting, and at this time, you are go for all types of uses of the toilet.
And the crew rejoices. Thank you.
The astronaut Christina Cook, an engineer who doubled as Artemis 2's high-flying plumber. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60.
Hello, St. Louis. 50 degrees downtown out by the Arch. My name is Ivy Lyons. The top local stories that we're following for you today on KMOX. Amid a string of deadly shootings over the weekend that killed at least 3 men and injured a 15-year-old among others, community members are out in Florissant coming together for a teen and youth violence prevention safety town hall. One speaker was Bonnie, a young woman who is a group leader with Moms Demand Action in St. Charles County. She says there needs to be better collaboration between adults and local youth.
As a student myself, I talk to my peers, and I might know more about that, whatever is going on within their life, than a teacher might. A teacher might just see that a student is struggling, but I might know the specific circumstances that are happening. And as a person who may know what is going on, it is okay to reach out to your counselors.
Representative Cori Bush was also present, encouraging people to speak out, saying that we have a responsibility to our children, teens, and young people across the St. Louis area to tackle the root causes of gun violence and fight for a better future for the next generation of St. Louisans. This weekend, St. Louis Metro Police are also mourning the loss of one of their own.
Officer Gregory Triplett died after a medical emergency occurred during a training exercise. Triplett was 58 years old and a 32-year veteran of the department. No details around the circumstances of his death have been provided.
That's KMOX's Sean Malone reporting on the death this Wednesday. Now there is a memorial outside of police headquarters, a District 2 police vehicle draped in black cloth and flowers. Police officers and department officials are inviting anyone who seeks to remember Officer Gregory Triplett to come pay their respects at the ongoing memorial. The memorial vehicle is parked outside the department's South Patrol location. Next month, May 16th, marks 1 year since the EF3 tornado changed much of the landscape of West End of St. Louis. Hundreds of people have never returned to their damaged homes, while others continue to live in properties that are not completely repaired, or in some cases at all.
While the city is still trying to put funds together, which include using some RAMS money, the damage is estimated to be around $1.72 billion. But is that number anywhere near achievable?
As we walk through with the community advisory meeting, we have around $380 million.
Mayor Kara Spencer says a big chunk of that rebuild funding should come from the Community Development Block Grant funding. It sounds like the mayor does not have, though, a firm number of just how much that federal grant money will provide. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
KMOX AccuWeather this afternoon will be mostly sunny but a bit cool, a high of 60. Clear low 44 tonight with a blend of sun and clouds. We're up to 63 tomorrow. Tuesday, then a cooler day again, more clouds, high 52, but back in the 70s beginning on Wednesday. From the Salika Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Bill Daker on 104.1 FM KMOX.
50 in St. Louis, 50 at Lambert's, 50 in Belleville. 50s are winning the day. I'm Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Good to be with you from the Stifel Sports Studio, and joining us on the line is the CEO of Stifel, Ron Kruszewski, is with us live at 11:06. Good morning, Ron, and happy Easter to you and your family.
Well, same to you and yours. It's a beautiful day here.
It is. Gorgeous day here in St. Louis. What a week this is. Wednesday night at Stifel Theater. It is the premiere screening of the final episode of ESPN's documentary On the Edge. That is in support of the Stifel U.S. ski team, and you are inviting our listeners and people here in St. Louis to come check it out. As a matter of fact, I can speak from experience that when Ron Kruszewski throws a party, it's an absolute must. This is going to be a celebration of not only the U.S. ski team, but St. Louis and the sports community here.
It's going to be great. If you got listeners that'd like to, you have to contact Steve. There's 2 million people in St. Louis, Tom. I don't think the theater exactly holds that, but it's gonna be a fun time, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, I hope that people are able to get in there and go, and they'll be joined by some legends and some great things happening there in that private screening. What an experience that must have been, Ron. I mean, and a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, it was the Team USA did well, obviously, Olympic gold in hockey, but the U.S. ski team, the Stifel U.S. ski team, got 18 medals, 5 gold. In fact, some of those 4 of the 5 will be with us: Michaela Schifrin, Alex Ferreira, Breezy Johnson, and our own St. Louis and Noah Elliott, who is a Paralympic. What a story that is, Tom. A guy who was a skateboarder, thought he tore his ACL, found out he had actually a cancer that made him have to amputate his leg, and then he comes and instead of skateboarding, he wins a gold medal in snowboard. He's from St. Charles. Tell me that's not a great story.
No kidding. I mean, what an incredible story, and what an incredible thing to be part of that from your perspective, Ron, because I know this goes a long way back with you.
It sure does. I mean, first of all, I love the sport, what the athletes embody, and dedication and spirit and just their focus, and the fact that it's a dangerous sport. They balance risk and reward. That's what I do every day, is I balance risk and reward. So I enjoy it. But then, I got to tell you, Tom, I'm on the radio. I probably shouldn't say this. My board will get mad at me. But when I go to the Olympics and I call it work, that's fun.
Yeah, that's right. And for all of your clients, for all of your employees, for all the friends of Stifel who are going to take this in and enjoy this Wednesday night, it's a celebration of them also. But also, I know you're going to have some people there to give back to the St. Louis community, because I feel like that's what Stifel has done as well. It's not just putting your name on a U.S. ski team. It's not just putting your name on the Cardinals jersey, on the Blues uniform. It's about being a fixture in our community.
Well, look, Stifel has been a fixture in the community since 1890. This is our 135th year. Not only is that, one of the oldest firms in St. Louis, it's one of the oldest firms in the country. And we like that. Not just the Blues, the Stifel Theater. We're bringing the Stifel Stars on ice. It's all the Olympic gold medalists from ice skating will be here. We do Dancing with the Stars and Josh Groban and Derek Huff. So look, you know what it is, Tom? It's our form of branding. When people see us branding with athletes and performers and the top of anyone in their class, they associate that with us. So so many people think I'm a creative guy, and I'm just a guy that pushes numbers around every day.
Well, let me ask you this, though. You're a sports fan, though. I mean, are the Cardinals...
Oh, gosh, are you kidding me?
Are people... I notice it, all right? I was out at Forest Park the other day hitting a bucket of balls, and I could hear these guys talking about, well, I like this team. I like this Cardinals team. I think I'm going to start going to more games. I mean, are you hearing it?
No, not only hearing it, I went to a number of the first games. And then when you think about it, it's the second youngest team in baseball outside, I think it's the Nationals. You got Gorman, Walk, Wynn, Scott. They're young, but they've got years in the league. Add Weatherholt, he seems very mature. And it's fun. I mean, it's a fun team. So you got to go down there. And then, the Cardinals are getting back. I understand their farm system's ranked number 3 in baseball. So look, the future's bright, but this team, if you got to get down there, Tom, there's a lot of energy, and this team thinks it can score anytime. So that's fun.
It is. It is a really good time. And the Blues, you know what? They put a little push together there. I just had Kerbs on the air just before you at 10:45. It's not over yet necessarily, but after a disappointing start to the season, they're showing a little bit of what the Cardinals are doing. I just feel like they're more advanced than the Cardinals situation right now. They have a core that could make a run next year.
Yeah, I think they do. They're finishing the season like they did last year on a hot streak. And had they not had lost that game, which was a heartbreaker, they'd be in the mix. But they're also in the mix to get a top 5 draft pick. So either way that this goes, I think the Blues are going to be stronger next year. Big game in Colorado tonight, and then Colorado comes here on Tuesday. That'll probably define the season. But that Blues team is a couple pieces away from contending for another cup. Yeah. And that'll be fun.
Yeah, and I watched this Final Four yesterday, and my friends,
Wow.
I know my IU buddies and I are texting back and forth. Of course, we wish we could be there. I mean, I miss those classic Indiana uniforms running around March Madness. But I will say this: sure is nice to be a national champion. I mean, it feels pretty good. I'm not over it.
Well, wait a minute, Tom. I'm not getting off. If I run over here for a second, I'm going to take every opportunity I can to send. But I gave a speech to I want to tell you about the economic thing about it. Think about any business. You have 715 losses, the most ever. That's what Indiana. They were pretty dismal for a lot of years. And then the market changes. You suddenly can do an NIL. You get free agency with the portal, and you bring in a new leader, and kaboom, you have a national championship. And you know what, Tom? That's true about anything you put your mind to. If you adapt to change, you can win. And that's what I think some of the St. Louis teams are doing, and that's certainly what Indiana football did. Yeah, now let's get the basketball team back.
Yeah, exactly. The basketball has got itself a budget. I think it's just a matter of roster construction. They hired Ryan Carr from the Indiana Pacers, who tried to keep him, but he's coming over to be the executive director, and his job will be to construct a roster with that NIL money that he's given for Darren DeVries. I feel pretty good about that.
Do that, and you got to, and I'm going to root for Michigan. I hate to tell you that, but it's a Big Ten team on Monday night. That's a good looking team, Tom.
It is, with an IU guy at the helm, Dusty May.
Darn it.
Ron, one more thing about On the Edge, the ESPN documentary, which you're going to premiere at Stifel Theater on Wednesday. What are you most proud of about this entire production?
We went out to a lot of our clients and friends, and the fact that, almost just without asking, we've got 1,500 people that have called to show up, and probably 2,000 on a Wednesday night at, it's after work. And I just feel that St. Louis, when I moved here, and I say it now and I say it every time, Tom, this is a sports town. It embraces sports, whether it's skiing, golf, whatever. I mean, think about it. What's the nearest hill to ski in all of Missouri? Hidden Valley, I think it's got 300 vertical, yet we're going to have over 1,000 people that want to celebrate U.S. skiing. That's St. Louis at its best, and I'm really proud of that.
You're going to have Michaela Schifrin, Breezy Johnson, Alex Ferreira, Noah Elliott. They're going to be big names in there. Ozzie Smith, Jackie Joyner-Kersey, a lot of names running through that I probably can't even list. So you're just going to surprise all your partners and friends at Stifel Theater, and I'm really happy for you. I think this is just a monster event you're going to have a blast with.
I appreciate it, Tom, and you have a great day. Enjoy this day, and let's end it how we started it. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, my friend. Ron Kruszewski, CEO of Stifel, with us on KMOX. When we come back, the president of St. Louis City SC, Diego Gigliani. At 11:30, president of baseball operations of the Cardinals, Chaim Bloom. At 11:45, Bernie Miklasz. Big hour, sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio. Back after this.
Here's something I run into a lot with younger homeowners, and happened to be with my little boy. He was looking at purchasing homes. This house had a 20-plus-year-old furnace and air conditioner. And, of course, my advice was never buy a house with that old of an air conditioner. You will be buying a new one. And he goes, well, how much does a new one cost? For his size home, told him figure tens of thousands to over $20,000. If you're looking at a house, my personal opinion is make sure it's a newer unit. If not, request buyers put in a newer unit. It makes it easier on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I think right now we all need something to look forward to, and a nice little getaway is going to do it for me. So I've been looking at this 5-day Arizona trip that I planned in September, and to me, it sounds absolutely perfect, and I would love for you to join me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stay in Flagstaff because that means cooler temperatures. It's a great home base, and from there, we're going to visit Sedona, the Grand Canyon, and Lake Powell all in one trip. I'm talking about Red Rock, big views, and that deep blue water at Lake Powell that looks like a postcard. I'm told September is one of the best times to go with fewer crowds, more comfortable weather, and everything's going to be planned out for us. We just show up. If this sounds like something you'd like to do, please join me because I have always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Travelwithdebbie.net. That's travelwithdebbie.net or call Cruise and Tour at 800-383-3131. Space is limited, so don't delay. 800-383-3131. Travelwithdebbie.net.
I never thought of myself as the type to settle down. Never knew where the team's next lunch was coming from. But then I met you, Easy Cater.
Workplaces everywhere are saying, I do want delicious food at work. And they're ordering from beloved restaurants with Easy Cater.
You were reliable. You had great options for every budget, even when marketing ops did keto again. We got through that together. With you, it's just so easy. Easy Cater, will you keep showing up at my workplace forever?
Find love at first lunch. Order at easycater.com.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
And we say hello to Diego Gigliani, the president of St. Louis City SC, for a live visit. Boy, what a run we've had on this show already. Thank you for your patience, Diego. How are you?
I'm doing great, Tom. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Hey, congratulations on that point. I was watching that last night thinking, man, I'm going to be talking to Diego about coming up short here, and then boom, in extra time late in this game, you are able to accomplish a 1-1 draw with New York City FC.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, right, Tom? It wasn't pretty, but we managed to get a point away, which is always something worth celebrating, especially against such a great team like NYCFC. They've got some great players, a really good head coach. They've been improving. They're towards the top of the East, and to be able to get a point after having really struggled during a large part of the game to hold on means a lot.
It was a 1-1 draw after Brendan McSorley gets his first goal of the season in second half stoppage time on an assist from Lucas McNaughton. It was in spectacular fashion, Diego. That was really something to see.
Absolutely, and it does go to show a little bit about the mentality of the group. We talk a lot about every single player mattering, and we had the two players that you mentioned came on the pitch as substitutes. And when we were down and being put under pressure, you've got different sorts of mentality of players that go in there and say, all right, I want to just not make any mistake. And if we walk away having lost against NYCFC, that's something that could be expected against such a great team. But they came on and they wanted to make an impact. And to see McNaughton, a center back, get up there and create that cross on that opportunity, and McSorley to get in right in front of goal with that beautiful header in the 95th, 96th minute shows the mentality of the group. I'm super happy for both of them, but also for the team to continue building.
You know what some of your fans are going to say now, because they're passionate. I mean, they love this game and they love this team. They're going to say, let's see more of McSorley. Let's see more of McNaughton. Can you get these guys in there? It's an interesting situation that Yoann Demey is in. Always, actually, for all of your coaches throughout your existence here, is trying to get everyone the time that they need.
Yeah, and that's really a path towards a successful team is when you have everyone fighting for those starting 11 positions. That's what raises the level of the entire team. So it's great to have examples like this when players come on and they make an impact. Makes life more difficult for Yoann, but that's what we want.
How has Demey been to work with so far?
He's been a breath of fresh air. A very young but highly capable coach. Has got a ton of experience. I think that he started coaching at 16 years old. Is pretty amazing, and he knows the league super well. He knows how he wants to play. He communicates very clearly, and he's got the support of staff and players that believe in the direction that he's taken us. And now we just got to continue believing in that process. And we're 6 games in. We've seen performances on the field that give us a lot of hope, especially given that it's still very early in this process, and we still have some improvements in the squad to keep making. So no, we're really happy with what we've seen from Yoann and his coaching staff.
First road point of the season for St. Louis City SC, 1-1 draw against NYCFC, and now it's FC Dallas on Saturday night on Y98 FM, our station right here in this building, right down the hall from us. As we talk about your team on KMOX, I believe we're going to be a big part of what you're doing this summer. This summer is the summer of soccer. And as the World Cup reaches North America, as we know by now, St. Louis is not a base camp for a team, although I am curious about Bosnia-Herzegovina. Just curious if there's an extra little push for them. But if you're not a base camp, it doesn't mean there won't be a lot of things going on with your fans.
Absolutely. There's a lot. We're really excited about the World Cup finally being here. I know it's been years in the making, talking about 2026 when the World Cup will be back in the U.S., and now it's about 65, 70 days away. So it's really right around the corner. And we've been looking at this as an opportunity for the sport, for sure, and for the league and our club as well. And it's more around how do we make sure that even though we're not going to have World Cup matches in St. Louis, how do we make sure the World Cup comes to St. Louis? And we've been really working on many different initiatives. And we just announced about a week ago this Summer of Soccer presented by Purina initiative, where we've got 5 or 6 different things going on, everything from viewing parties and activities out in the region to make sure that everyone in the city is aware of the World Cup being on our U.S. soil, but also that St. Louis City is also here, and the experience that fans will feel in a World Cup can be replicated every home game here at Energizer Park.
And I heard your address last week when you talked at Energizer Park about this, and I could hear the passion for the sport within you. I mean, obviously this is a great thing for City and Energizer Park and for the fans in St. Louis, but I could hear you truly want to capitalize on this in growing the sport among sports fans in North America.
Yeah, it's such an amazing opportunity. It's going to be the biggest World Cup ever. 48 teams going to be competing in it. That's 1 out of every 4 countries in the world will be participating in this World Cup. And there's over 100 matches, more than ever before in a World Cup. And it's the second time it will ever be held in the U.S. The previous time was before the MLS even existed. And we're talking about, 100 million plus people in the U.S. alone that will be exposed to the World Cup, many of them for the first time to our sport. And I just know the opportunity that creates around people to get to know the sport, but to also feel all the things beyond the sport that are a big driver of why a lot of us are football or soccer fans. It's about the emotions, it's about the sense of belonging, it's about the ability to speak with people from all sorts of different backgrounds about a sport that you love and players that you love to follow. I've been to so many World Cups, and they've been some of the best memories in my life. And I look forward to young boys and girls remembering in 20, 30 years. I remember when the World Cup came to the U.S. and came to St. Louis, that was the first time that I fell in love with the sport. And now here I am watching or playing. So I know that those moments will happen this summer.
I can still remember being at Giant Stadium when I was a 19-year-old kid, 1994. I went to New York to see a family friend, and we went to see Italy play Bulgaria in the semifinal. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. That feeling being in that stadium. By the way, I'm stunned still that Italy's not in this thing. I mean, it's amazing. But Bosnia and Herzegovina got it done. And I made the comment earlier about Bosnian fans here in St. Louis. They're going to be all riled up. So you'll be able to appease them. Even if that country had a base camp here, people have to understand they don't interact with the fans, really. I mean, they're here to work, right? That was kind of the whole point, is that you told me this a few weeks ago, is that those teams wanted to be away from a downtown setting.
Yeah, the majority of the teams that we spoke with did want that kind of private, secluded environment. But like you, Tom, as soon as we were seeing that last penalty kick being kicked in the Bosnia-Italy game, we were back on the phone with the Bosnian Federation. We had been in touch with them already, even before the game, about possibilities to do things with the Bosnian team. We know what a great community there is here in St. Louis. I think it's the biggest in all of the Americas for Bosnians. And we know that they're football fans and football mad. So to have Bosnia then qualify for the World Cup, we have been active every day working on being able to bring some good news, hopefully, to St. Louis, but it's not done, and we won't be able to really celebrate anything until we're fully locked in. But we would love to have some way of collaborating with the Bosnia-Herzegovina team in the build-up to or during the World Cup, because we know how much St. Louis and its community will embrace them and really just give them that support that they need to go into the World Cup with belief. And it's going to help the team be able to do better.
Well, we will stay in touch with you on that, as well as all of your watch parties and all of your youth events, everything that you're doing with the sport of soccer this summer, in the summer of soccer. St. Louis City SC's website, social media channels have it all, but you can be assured that KMOX will be on top of this. Diego, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate you.
Thank you to all. Thanks, Tom.
That is the president of St. Louis City SC, Diego Gigliani. Always fun to visit with him. The president of baseball operations for the Cardinals, Chaim Bloom, is next on KMOX.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Spring into green with Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. For a limited time, we have 0% financing for 84 months on John Deere 1, 2, and 3E Series compact tractor packages with prices as low as $225 a month. Plus, we'll deliver it for free. Visit assenpartners.com or one of our Missouri and Illinois John Deere locations. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 4/30/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Hey, it's Matt and Leslie Holiday. When we got to St. Louis, it wasn't long before we started searching for a way to give back.
We visited Cardinal Children's Hospital, and we knew this is where we belonged.
Homers for Health has been going strong for 15 years and has made such an unbelievable impact on the hospital. I've won a World Series, but I consider the work we have done at Cardinal Glennon to be the greatest achievement.
Yes, your support truly makes a difference. Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund.
If you need a garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of your choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
A night game for the Cardinals. 6:20 start tonight for the Redbirds. They are in Detroit taking on the Tigers. And joining us live right now is the president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, on this Easter morning. Happy Passover to you and your family, Chaim.
Thank you very much, and happy Easter, and also to everybody listening out there who's celebrating.
It's great to visit with you as always. The Cardinals dropped one yesterday, 11-6 to the Tigers. I do want to talk about some positives first. How about the thunder off the bat of Jordan Walker? Hello. That wasn't the first one. I mean, he's hit a couple of tape measure jobs here.
Yeah, that was fun to watch and pretty impressive to see how he's come out of the gate. And, I'm happy most of all for Jordan, but also, we talked throughout the spring when we weren't seeing many signs of it translating to the field about all the buy-in on his part, all the work that was being done. So for him, for everybody who's put that time into the work, which is ongoing, it's not like we feel like we've checked the box. This is just, part of the process. It's just nice to see that.
What did he do, and what will he continue to do behind the scenes? Can you describe? I have not asked you sort of in detail what these hitting labs look like and what sort of technology you've been able to put together for these players.
It's interesting, and I think Jordan has talked about it, recently as he's been feeling better at the plate. For all of the precision with which we can measure things and all of the level of detail that we can talk about movement and talk about the body, all of which I think is true and has some basis in reality. For all of that, what seems to have clicked for him after putting in all that training is really just to stop thinking about it, which is kind of what you hope. It's really hard to practice and play at the same time, and just to be able to clear his head and trust that training. Really what a lot of it came down to was basically, we know there's thunder in the bat. It was basically just getting him moving and getting his bat moving in a way that allows him to make good swing decisions and allows him to impact the ball and to impact it in ways that can drive in runs. And he has been doing that, but, I think if you listen to him, a lot of it has just been getting to a point where he does trust the work that's being put in and he can clear his head and really not think out there.
Mason Wynn was dealing with some hip soreness. So what is the latest there? Again, this not related to the car accident that he was in, I understand, which is a whole separate story that took place. And I'm sure that everybody feels very fortunate that things turned out the way they did, that Mason is okay.
Yeah, when you see what his car looks like, it's impossible not to feel that, we're all very fortunate, obviously, that it wasn't worse. And very, very thankful to everybody, both within our organization and also in the community that responded so quickly just to make sure he was okay. Everything we know suggests that this soreness is minor and that it really more stems from him trying to work and swing his way out of his early season slump. Led to a day off yesterday, and hopefully, we'll see if he's in there tonight, but hopefully it won't impact him past today either way.
Just, seeing him last year deal with the knee soreness that he did, I actually admire the fact that he kind of gutted his way through this thing and was looking forward to seeing him healthy. So hopefully he's able to do that. But really, isn't that baseball just in a nutshell? I mean, staying healthy is a skill. It is hard. I talked to Ozzie Smith one time about this, and he said, Tom, if they tell you they're 100%, they're not telling the truth. Part of baseball is you gotta play through things.
Yeah, there's obviously those separators of, some guys, obviously, when you're hurt, you're hurt. And there's some things that you just can't effectively play through. But then there's also a spectrum of things where, and Mason's one of these guys that he likes to post regardless of what's going on. And that's not always smart. Sometimes we need to throttle them back, but you'd always rather have the player fighting you to get out there and then put the hard decisions on the head of our medical staff and our coaching staff as to whether you're going to potentially do worse damage by playing or whether it's something you can safely grind through. And then how close to 100% are you in terms of how we can expect you to perform? But I think you're right. It's interesting. We have the longest season, and then you see in October, you see these guys really leaving it all out there. And when you think about it, when you're competing in October, you're probably as depleted as you are at any point in the season. You've just been playing already for, 6 months plus spring training. And yet that's when you're called on to perform at your best. That's when legends are made. And so that's really part of the process that we think about in development, is training guys towards that, training them to know their bodies well enough that they understand when they can push themselves and how they can push themselves, and also that they can find ways as they go through their careers to prepare themselves better for that grind.
I don't know what's going on the inside of those walls. You know, obviously better than I do, but my eyes tell me that Dustin May isn't injured. I mean, he's throwing 98. This is just a matter of either mechanics or getting himself dialed in against these hitters. They're seeing something and the adjustment that has to be made moving forward.
Yeah, it's really the other side of that coin. You talk about Jordan and, they're in game and spring training, how much he struggled, and then the season starts and he seems locked in. And with Dustin, it's kind of been the opposite these first couple starts. We were very, very encouraged by his spring training. Certainly the way the ball was coming out of the sand, which we still are, and you could see that, and the broadening of that repertoire, but also just how he was throwing generally. And that just hasn't translated the first couple starts. But he'll sit down with Dusty today, and they'll break everything down. And it's one of those lessons you have to remind yourself. Frankly, we have to remind ourselves too, because we get just as frustrated watching these things. But you think about how it looked for Jordan in spring, and I don't think most people, probably myself included, would have told you this would be the first week of the season that he would have. And yet that's part of why we stayed true to the work, because there was good work being put in. Everybody was aligned on what needed to be done. And so you're going to let it play out. And it's important to remind ourselves of that right now at a point in time like we're at with Dustin, that it's a long season and we have seen everything, all the pieces we need to see. It's just a matter of working on it and making sure that we can try to get him straightened out sooner rather than later.
Springfield with another win yesterday. They beat Amarillo 7-4. They're 2-0. This is a pretty good start for these affiliates. I mean, their minor league system got out blazing out of the gates.
Yeah, and that's cool to see. Wins and losses are not everything in development, obviously, because you can have individuals working their way towards the big leagues without necessarily putting wins up on the scoreboard along the way. But anytime we take the field, wearing the birds on the bat, we're trying to win a game. And that is something that you can learn. And it's something culturally that's really important for us. So it's really nice to see these guys figuring out ways to do that. Obviously, we're bullish bullish on where our minor league system is headed. We know we're not even close to where we need to be, but really nice to see all the work throughout the offseason and in spring training validated with some nice starts really by everybody.
As the team moves forward tonight against the Tigers, Kyle Leahy will make the start. What's been your early evaluation of Leahy?
I think he's, when you think about the transition that he's trying to make, I think he's in a pretty good spot. Obviously, these results are going to play out over time. It's not a workload that he hasn't carried before. He did start at points during his minor league career, but you look at the progression he's trying to make, taking a really deep arsenal, actually making it even a little deeper, and then taking it into the rotation. And the stuff and the ability to execute those pitches is in a pretty good spot for where we are. Obviously, you want to see him keep sharpening the saw as we go forward. But, even though we didn't get the W the first time that he pitched, pretty happy with his ability to hold his stuff and show the ability to execute multiple pitches. We've seen the first 2 games of this series. That's a good Tigers team, man. They can do a lot of different things too in the lineup. Some of those guys had just some terrific at bats. So it's going to be a challenge. We know he's got the repertoire to handle it, but it will be a challenge and kind of fun for him to have the stage to himself, or for these 2 teams to have the stage to themselves on Sunday night.
And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Andre Palante. I mean, he's going to start tomorrow against Washington. He's the scheduled starter, and so far so good for Andre. I think we had a million questions about Andre to you and others during spring training, and he seems to have answered them all so far.
Yeah, again, we should never, just like we talked about with Dustin, if we're going to say, hey, don't overreact to a couple that didn't go your way, we shouldn't overreact to one start in the other direction. But it was cool to see all that work validated. The way he went through spring training just gave us a lot of confidence that he was going to be in a good place coming out of the chute. I think he understands himself better than he did at this point last year. His repertoire is in a good place. He is a multi-dimensional pitcher now. He spent some time in the offseason and in the spring working on the type of changeup that can complement the way that his fastball moves and the way that his hand comes through the baseball, and good early returns on that. And we actually want to see that continue to be a weapon for him as we go forward. It probably has not reached the point confidence-wise that it can. So that's something we'll be looking for with each passing start. But just knowing how important momentum is for some of these guys, it's really, really nice to get that validation early, and really happy for him because he certainly put in the work.
One last thing, and I this is something I'll probably stay on top of all season long, because when I look at your team and I look at depth, you're acquiring more pitching, you're trying to acquire more prospects, and you got a bunch of draft picks coming. But boy, I really think that your catcher position is solid across the board at the moment. At the major league level, it's Pages, Pozo, and Herrera. At the minor league level, the big names that come into mind are Crooks, Bernal, and then the teenager Rodriguez. Where do you see things right now at the catching position, especially in the minor leagues? What is your expectation for those 3?
Yeah, and I agree with your assessment overall. Again, not something we take for granted that Ivan, because of that hiccup with the knee, actually didn't catch a full 9 in spring training, and he's come out looking pretty good. In a good way, the focus has not been on him behind the plate. So that's really nice to see. And, obviously we know what Pedro can do in terms of handling a staff as well. And then, as you mentioned, the minor leagues, I don't know. I think it's a little early to forecast exactly how this is going to go in the long term. We're really fortunate that we have some really good options and some competition that I think is going to be created from within our organization, both competition from the minor leagues to the guys in the big leagues, and then amongst themselves. And, this usually sorts itself out. You never can have too many, especially at a position where it's really, really hard to find good ones. We're just fortunate, and really it's on us to make sure they're all progressing the way that they need to and the way that they can. But it's exciting to have that amount of talent behind the plate, and we'll see where it goes in the long term. But very happy with being able to look around the organization and feel really good about what we have at that position up and down the system.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a good rest of your Sunday, Chaim. We appreciate it.
You bet, and thank you. You as well.
Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, with us live on KMOX. We'll come back with Bernie Miklasz right after this.
Is here. Hi, this is Tim Gamma.
And I'm Tom Gamma.
When it comes to tree care, call the name you can trust. Gamma Tree Experts, founded by our dad, Frank Gamma, in 1954.
Frank will be 91 this year, and the 3rd generation of Gammas have joined the business.
Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Now in our 72nd year.
For pruning, fertilization, and removal, call Gamma Tree Experts today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Since 1898, we've been building homes in St. Louis with the same commitment to quality craftsmanship, prime locations, and personalized service. And now we're celebrating 128 years with our 1898 sale. For a limited time, save $18,980 plus receive $10,000 to $15,000 in cash at closing on all to-be-built homes. Visit McKelveyHomes.com to learn more. Isn't it time to move up to McKelvey Homes?
Calling all runners. Register now for the Cardinals 5K on Saturday, April 18th, and you can take a victory lap on the field at Busch Stadium. Don't miss this chance to bring the whole family for a fun St. Louis 5K race that brings fans together to support kids in the community. The Cardinals 5K, Saturday, April 18th. Register now at cardinals.com/5K. And for more information, just head to KMOX.com/events.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler, and of course, FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of KMOX and has been since the start of the year. Well, my history with FanDuel Sportsbook goes back way beyond that. I used to have to travel to use it, but now I get to do it in the comfort of my own home, which is great. And things are really heating up right now. They're heating up in the tournament, and FanDuel is giving all customers a profit boost every single game day leading up to the championship game. So you can build a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. You can try live betting and jump in after a game tips off. I picked up a win like that in the Sweet 16. Best of all, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. So all you have to do to get started is go to FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri to claim your first profit boost and keep the action going from now until the championship game. FanDuel is where you get to play your game. Just remember, you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Opt-in is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. You can see all the terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents. So when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The financial industry is getting rich on baby boomers. Don't be their next victim. Find out the truth of what's really going on in the retirement industry. Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire, Your Financial Advisor.
NeoVitan began with one doctor's mission to help others feel their best. After years of caring for patients, Dr. Ken Ribicki, a St. Louis physician, created NeoVitan, a line of multivitamins designed with quality, safety, and everyday wellness in mind. Each formula is made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients to support real people living real lives. Discover the difference today with NeoVitan, available at Schnucks, Dierbergs, and neovitan.com. NeoVitan, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 1041 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
We welcome Bernie Miklasz to the party. He is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, Stewart's American Mortgage. What's going on, Bernie?
Good to be with you. It's been fun to watch the baseball season early on, try to sort itself out. And of course, we're all gearing up for what should be a terrific national college basketball championship game Monday night.
Yeah, how about SLU slugging it out with Michigan for a while and then ended up losing that game by a sizable margin? Now we see why. I thought at the time Michigan's going to win this whole thing. I mean, they look unbelievable.
They really do look unbeatable, and I always just look at the point spread just as a point of reference about what people think. And they're a 6.5-point favorite over UConn. Now, let's think about that just for a second. Michigan's a 6.5-point favorite over UConn. And we're talking about, a UConn team or program. It's won 6 titles since 1999, twice as many as any other program. If they win on Monday night, UConn, it would separate UConn from North Carolina. And only at that point, only Kentucky and UCLA would have won more NCAA tournaments in the history of the sport. You look at UConn, like 13-1 and 8 trips to the Final Four, and has won 5 national championships and 7 trips to the Sweet 16 since 2004. Dan Hurley, if he wins Monday night, he'll have 3 championships in 4 years. That hasn't been done by a coach since John Wooden closed out his run with 6 straight championships at UCLA. So if he wins, if he wins, talking about Hurley on Monday night, it'll put him even with Roy Williams, Bob Knight, and Jim Calhoun. And then at that point, the only guys who will have won more would be Wooden, Krzyzewski, and Adolph Rupp. I mean, yet they're a 6.5-point underdog, right?
I don't know. It's amazing.
It is. They're like a big underdog in this game with all of that incredible success. So this ought to be fun. And as you know, being a Big Ten guy, man, Big Ten has not won the men's basketball championship since Tom Izzo and Michigan State in 2000. And I'll give you something here. You want to take a look at how the Big Ten's doing in the NIL. If the UCLA women win the national championship tonight, and if, of course, come Monday night, Michigan wins a national championship, Indiana's already got the football championship. So they would have won the Big Ten. If those things I talked about, they would be, like the 3 big sports, basically, they would have won the national championship in all 3. And that hasn't been done since the SEC won the National College Football, men's basketball, women's basketball back in 2007.
Wow.
And I think it's safe to say, and your guy, Curt Cignetti, I think it's safe to say that the Big Ten, more than any other conference, has been the very best at right away, jumping in on NIL, jumping in on the transfer portal, and just did not hesitate. I think Big Ten gets a lot of credit for that. They were out in front of everybody else with their aggressiveness.
I'm with you. And I think they're set up really well because the way they're situated coast to coast. So we'll see where this all goes here moving forward. Big game tomorrow, Michigan and UConn. The Cardinals are in Michigan. They're taking on Detroit tonight. Just your overall thoughts on the Cardinals here through this first portion of the season.
I sit here and I think, well, they've been inconsistent. There's some things you like. There's some things you dislike. It's early. They're 500. And so when I talk about them being inconsistent, I always try to have perspective on this other than the fact it's early in the season. But, I mean, the Cardinals going into tonight, they have a better record than the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, the Padres, the Red Sox, the Orioles, Seattle, Tampa Bay, same as Toronto. The point is, just about everybody's kind of feeling their way through this and maybe stumbling a little bit, then they recover, then they stumble again. So what the Cardinals have done at 5-5, where they look really good, then they look not so good. Well, I think that's true of just about not every team, but the overwhelming majority of teams this early in the season. And that's kind of like early season baseball. The one thing about the Cardinals, I think we all want to see, go in a different direction. You look at their starting pitching in wins this year, the 4 wins they have. 0.81 ERA starting pitching in the wins, the 4 wins. And then, do I have it right? It's 4 or 5 wins.
Yep.
In the losses, the starting pitching ERA 13.50. That's so. I mean, that kind of tells you the offense has been roughly the same, win or lose. But the first thing that's got to get better in terms of establishing more consistency, if your starting pitching needs to have more consistency. It just can't be, Libator, McGreevy, and Palante. The other 2 guys have to, especially Dustin May, have to get something going. And against Kyle Leahy, have a chance tonight. So there's some things about the starting pitching, but I heard you talking with Chaim. Dustin May, I think no one's given up on him, and he's throwing 97 miles an hour. They'll figure it out. He might be tipping pitches, but they got to get him on track, and nobody has to tell him that because he says it himself.
No, you're right about that. And this is a big night for them, really, for Leahy to make sure they don't burn up that bullpen.
Yeah, exactly. And the bullpen has been a little bit up and down, but I think for the most part, since that Tampa Bay series, they've been fine. It wasn't so hot yesterday, but what are you going to do, right? Those things are going to happen. So I will repeat something that a lot of people say, and I like watching these games. I look forward to Cardinals games. I'm very interested in what's going to happen from day to day because there's so many things to monitor and keep an eye on. That's why it's such an intriguing season to me. So much is at stake for so many individual pitchers and hitters.
It is a fascinating thing to watch throughout this season is that we get to play manager and GM a little bit and kind of watch it,
absolutely,
see how who belongs where. And it's going to be an ongoing conversation because that's the way this team is set up. Bernie Miklasz, we appreciate you very much. We hope you and your family have a wonderful Easter, and we always love having you on KMOX, my man.
Well, I love being on KMOX, and I love working with you. So happy Easter to you, your family, and everyone listening who celebrates Easter or Passover. And good to have just a little bit of Easter with you on KMOX, Tom.
I totally agree. I wish we could do 4 hours together. I'd do it if I could. Thank you, my friend. Have a good one.
You got it, man.
Bernie Miklasz with us on KMOX. Hey, that's the show. Sports on a Sunday. That flew by. We had a lot of guests. A lot of great sponsors too. Thanks to our producer, Drew Young. Tom Ackerman with you. Have a wonderful rest of your Easter Sunday.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world.